Okay, this is my second go at doing this video. I had some daft settings there originally. This is a reply to one of Mark Vergeer's videos. It was, do you think you're a better gamer now than when you were a child? And when I first saw the question, my first thought was, well, does he mean in terms of reflexes, which of course typically slow down as you get older. But when I looked at some other people's replies, like Retro Gamer VX and Steve Benway, it's sort of their answers were a bit broader than I first imagined, and it's quite an interesting question. So one of the points that was raised was that if you understand game mechanics, excuse me, this is some Rivita. If you understand game mechanics, it can make you a better gamer. You know, if you're playing, say, a shooter. I mean, for example, if you're playing an R-Type clone, and you know it's an R-Type clone, one of the best things you can do is avoid getting stuck in the corners. You don't want to get stuck in the corners. You've got no room to manoeuvre. But you know that as soon as you realise it's an R-Type clone, so that comes with experience. So understanding the game mechanics, understanding it's not a spaceship, you know, it's sprites, it's collision detection, it's things like that. You know, managing your damage, not taking too many risks, having an idea of what sort of strategies, or rather tactics, on screen are likely to be effective. You know, so you know, if it's one of those enemies, coming back to R-Type clones again, it's one of those enemies that's a great big sort of multi-linked thing, that if you stay in the same place and you just keep shooting and shooting and shooting, gradually you're likely to take out all the different segments, all the different links. That's usually a good strategy. Things like that, and just sort of hundreds or even thousands of little nuggets of knowledge that just come from experience of playing games. Yeah, so I'd agree with that. But personally, even on the BBC Micro, I always like games with a bit more depth, a bit more exploration, things like that. So I tend not to play games that are just pure reflex tests anyway. And when I was young, it would be, well, when I was a kid, it would be the exception that I'd complete a game. It would be very rare that I'd complete a game. And also, I don't think the designers really expected you to see them to the end back in those days. So even once you got into the Amiga era, I didn't complete games. Maybe part of that is that there was less of a social aspect of gaming. You know, you'd maybe sort of discuss a game with a friend or something, but when loads of people, you know, have played the game, and they talk about different aspects of it, and I suppose the content can be more intriguing because there's more of it than there were in the really early games. It makes you want to complete it. And something like, say, quite a big game like, say, Fallout 3, I think it's designed to be completed. It's designed to be played through to the end. So that makes you want to complete it. So that's one way in which I'm a much better gamer now than I was when I was a child, because now generally if I like a game, I try to complete it. You know, I very rarely completed a game before. Also, I think I've got more perseverance, partly because I think as you get older you learn a lesson about perseverance. You learn that quite often perseverance can lead to a reward in anything you're doing. So for example, sometimes in Fallout 3 you're wandering around the wasteland and you can hit a boring bit, and maybe that's where I'd give up before when I was a child, whereas you just learn the lesson that perseverance can lead to a reward quite often. Perseverance can be very rewarding, so you sort of get through the not so good bits, and also in a way, not completing a game now feels like, it kind of feels like cheating or copying out, kind of like not finishing a novel. Sometimes I won't, but I kind of feel guilty about it, and it's the same with watching a film. I try to watch every film to the end if I can, and games start to feel a bit like that. So yeah, using that criteria, you know, number of games completed, I'm a far better gamer because I'm much more likely to complete a game. And then mixed in with what Ben was saying, I can't remember, did Retro Gamer VX touch on that? But anyway, so it's an interesting question that made me think. I bet I've just moved house, and I'm just cramming in. Finally, it's the day before Christmas, and I've finally got some time to do these, to do some video responses, and I'm probably missing loads of stuff. I wish I could have made some notes, but I haven't got any time for that. But yeah, it was a question that sort of made me think a little bit. And then a lot of the things, I mean, there's just to add a bit, I'll probably edit this in the beginning. You know, an older person might find it more difficult to learn new things and to pick up new skills because of just the way neurology works. You know, the links in the brain between the different what do you call neurons are they're more defined in an older person. But you see, the point is you've learned a lot of the skills, and a lot of the skills are transferable. So if you have a go at, if you put mouse look on and you have a go at Quake 1 on nightmare difficulty, it's laughably easy because we've all just advanced so much. And I'm sure game designers have to bear this in mind, that your average gamer in his 30s now, you know, obviously Quake, the first time you played it through, you might have played it through on easy and it might have presented a reasonable challenge, whereas now we're so good at that control mechanic that Quake 1 on nightmare difficulty, it's just too easy. So, you know, as you get older you acquire the skills, and they're transferable skills, you know. So I suppose when you're steering a car in a racing game, I suppose maybe even going back to what you learnt from playing a game like Pole Position on an 8-bit, I suppose some of those skills are maybe transferable. You add to them. So pure reflexes, pure picking up, very quickly picking up new skills and learning new things, perhaps that does go down a bit as you get older. But I suppose knowledge, there's a car alarm going off outside, knowledge, and let me see, yeah, so knowledge and learned skills, I suppose they do come in useful. Controlling the mouse, controlling the keyboard,